Well, good evening. Thanks for joining us again for devotionals tonight. You may notice that the background is a little bit different after quarantining and continuing to do so, but we are paying our first visit to my mom in the Quad Cities, so I'm very glad to be able to spend some time with her just for a brief time, but it means a lot to us. But tonight, we want to be able to share a devotional, and this one from Eugene Peterson's Living the Message, entitled The Impulse to Pray. And he writes this: "For there is no lack in us of the impulse to pray, and there's no scarcity of requests to pray. Desire and demand keep the matter of prayer before us constantly. So why are so many lives prayerless? Simply because the well is deep and you have nothing to draw with. We need a bucket. We need a container that holds water. Desires and demands are a sieve. We need a vessel suited to lowering desires and demands into the deep Jacob's well of God's presence and word and bringing them to the surface again. The Psalms are such a bucket." And he quotes in the Message, John 16:26, Jesus said, "This is what I want you to do. Ask the Father whatever is in keeping with the things I've revealed to you. Ask in my name, according to my will, and he's most certainly will give it to you. Your joy will be a river overflowing its banks." And I thought that image of how we go to God in prayer and yet have no bucket to draw up out of. What an image. And the idea that the Psalms give us language, give us a framework around which to call out to God in whatever circumstances are going on in our lives, for praise, for lament, for a call for justice, for just a looking to God in times that are difficult and in times that are joyous, a time of remembering God's faithfulness. The Psalms really are a language of prayer, of a language of sacramentalizing all of our emotions, the good ones, the ones that we think certainly are proper and fit and holy to present before God, and also, and I think this is, we've said it before, a gift of the Psalms that doesn't hold back on the emotions that honestly, if we held them up to the light, we might think, I can't say that to God, or that's not the right attitude to come to God with, and maybe it isn't, and yet the Psalms express it, and they put it out there, and they invite us to be real and honest, and to allow God to deal with that. And it seemed fitting today, unfortunately, as we hear in the news of yet another African-American person killed by police officers, uh, you know, calling out for what does justice look like. Now, this is not a criticism of all police officers. Most do their jobs in a very difficult and thankless and dangerous situation, and they do their jobs well. But there are others who deal with the reality that justice is not colorblind yet, and we find that people respond differently, and there is a call among many communities for real justice. And Psalm 99 is the psalm for this week, and it reads as such: "The Lord is king, let the nations tremble. He sits on his throne between the cherubim, let the whole earth quake. The Lord sits in majesty in Jerusalem, exalted above all the nations. Let them praise your great and awesome name. Your name is holy. Mighty King, lover of justice, you have established fairness and righteousness throughout Israel. Exalt the Lord our God. Bow low before his feet, for he is holy. Moses and Aaron were among his priests. Samuel also called on his name. They cried to the Lord for help, and he answered them. He spoke to Israel from the pillar of cloud, and they followed the laws and decrees he gave them. O Lord our God, you answered them. You were a forgiving God to them, but you punished them when they went wrong. Exalt the Lord our God and worship at his holy mountain in Jerusalem, for the Lord our God is holy. And I don't mean to try to unpack all of that psalm tonight, even other than to just say, in this psalm, as we reflect on that in the light of the devotional that we just heard from Eugene Peterson, that the psalmist describes a God who is holy. It describes a God that we look to and cry out to for justice, a God who cares about justice and doing what is right. And we know that we live in an imperfect world. All of our systems, all of our cultures, even our best intentioned ones, fall short. And yet God continues to call us to seek that out, and to seek it out as his followers, and to ask for what that looks like as we look to Jesus as the example, and the one who embodies what it truly means to be human. And so wherever we are in that journey, may we too find in our prayers, in the Psalms, a language for prayer, and also a reminder of the call to act and seek God's justice in this world, wherever we live, for all people. May God bless you and be with you on this journey, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care, and God bless.